He got his first dose in 2020, had side effects. Just standing up sent his heart racing, stinging pain in his eyes, mouth, groin.
This came out yesterday from Leading Report, breaking former CNN anchor and vaccine pusher Chris Cuomo disclosed for the first time that he has been suffering from side effects he attributes to the COVID-19 vaccine. Cuomo admitted his side effects during an in-depth interview with nurse practitioner Sean Barcavage. We know that vaccines can have unintended consequences, aka side effects, but nobody's really talking about it because they're too afraid of blame and they just want it to go away. Sean, I can't help you because I'm no clinician. I'm sick myself, but I'm working with people who are working on this, so I'll make sure that we're in touch right after the show and I'll help any way I can. You may be ahead of me. I'll connect you with my clinicians and maybe you can share different protocols and things that may help, but I will never stop reporting on this. All I'm doing is just beating the drum for a 9/11 style commission to figure out what worked and what didn't and what questions needed to be answered because it's not over, Cuomo said. So, okay, we're going to show you two clips from Cuomo talking about this in just a second. I just want to say, look, although I don't even know what I credit for it exactly. I was not bamboozled by this. I was pressured just like everybody else. All sorts of people had to make Faustian bargains as it related to keeping your job, if they were going to force you to do it and everything else. I'm very happy that I did not budge on that. And Cuomo, who did an absolutely horrible job as a journalist, like an absolutely profoundly horrible job as a journalist, thus got fired from even CNN, which is not some pinnacle of journalism anymore. But during COVID, with all the guilt and he had no idea whether masks works or vaccines worked, and telling people about passports and going after Byron Donalds because Byron Donalds was down here in Florida trying to keep things open. He did a horrible, horrible job as a journalist. However, as a human being, I have great sympathy for him. As a human being, he injected himself with something without really knowing why he did it. That's what virtually everyone did. And now he is having side effects as it relates to that. Here he is talking about that on his show.
New York Times released an article that's getting a lot of play that says that there are thousands of people who say they're still suffering side effects they believe from the vaccine and that those have been ignored. Now, one of them is nurse practitioner Sean Barcavage. He says he got his first dose in 2020, had side effects. Just standing up sent his heart racing, stinging pain in his eyes, mouth, groin. Those have gotten a little bit better, but he still has what they call tinnitus. That's a ringing in the ears. We know that vaccines can have unintended consequences, aka side effects, but nobody's really talking about it because they're too afraid of blame and they just want it to go away. But the problem is people like Sean and me and millions of others who still have weird stuff with their blood work and their lives and their feelings, physically, are not going away.
Why do I believe this? It's not a belief, it's a fact. And as soon as I was injured, 15, 20 minutes of my first dose, I had numbness tingling up and down my injected arm that over days spread to my face and my eyes. I went to see a neurologist. He ran some tests. He's like, well, this is all new. We don't know much about it, but the hospital is going to mandate it. You should get a second dose. And everything in my medical mind and in my bones was telling me, no, if you have a reaction after something, don't do it again. But the pressure was immense. And then 3 weeks rolled around, I got a second dose. And after that, everything blew up. I went from being a healthy, 100% healthy, fully functioning nurse to in a complete downward spiral of health. I had a myriad of symptoms.
Okay, so that clip obviously was mostly about the nurse practitioner he's talking to, but he did say, and we're going to show you one more clip, he did say, and me, millions of other people, and me, that he is now going through something. So we'll get to that in a second. But I just, as I'm listening to that again, just try to remember, I know we forget everything very quickly. The news cycle keeps us all in a constant state of paralysis by analysis, something like that. But remember that there are literally millions of people in this country right now and hundreds of millions all over the world who got that vaccine. Most of them, or I can't say most of them, a huge percentage of them against their will, just to keep their jobs or to make someone in their family happy, or because they were completely bamboozled by the media. They were bamboozled by people like Chris Cuomo. And now Chris Cuomo is dealing with some of the fallout from that literally in his own body.